So today we're reviewing the Sig Bravo 5. It is a prism optic. It's Sig's sort of flagship prism optic. They call it a battle sight, which is like great PR name, but it's a fucking prism optic. Just call it what it is, right? I genuinely think that this is not worth the money. So we're gonna get into it. Okay, so I recorded this video once already and I was editing it and it looked like dog shit. So I'm re-recording it because I genuinely think this optic is something that needs to be reviewed, and I really didn't get across what I wanted to get across in the first recording. So if you see me in two different outfits during this video, that's why. But before we get started, make sure you comment and let me know what you think about this optic. Do you think it's also dog shit? Have you ever shot it? And if you have shot it and you like it, have you only shot it within 100 yards? This is a little bit extra because I'm recording this after the fact, but this is my current build. So we've got the Surefire RC2 Mini, we've got the Surefire X300, we have got BCM MCMR, we've got the Vortex Strike Eagle 1:8 first focal plane, and then this is built on an Aero chassis. But let me know what you guys think about this optic, because I'm genuinely curious if everyone's had as negative of an experience as I have. So first things first, let's talk about the features of this optic. So you've got a 5X prism optic with 3 sections of pick rail surrounding the front of the optic. You have an illumination dial on the left side with 3 different levels of night vision performance. You've got a magnesium housing. They boast 42% better field of view. They call that their mega view. Let's first talk about the optic's good sides, which I think are very few. The first thing is it's got a wide field of view, especially when you compare it to something like the TA31 ACOG, which is notorious for having a restrictive eye box and a low field of view. This one does have a wider field of view. The eye box is not better though. The eye box is different, but not better. It's a very restrictive eye box. If you're not used to shooting nose to charging handle, this is not the optic for you. So our first negative is the eye box. The eye box on this optic is extremely limited. So as you can see, this is proper head placement for this optic, and that's maybe 2 inches of eye relief. And if I move my head slightly off to any direction, it instantly gets scope shadow. You have to be very well behind the optic, and it's got a 1.5 height over bore, so that riser is for some people going to be a bit of a challenge. Another thing that's really annoying about the eye box is it's very limited forward to back. So if you're not used to that nose to charging handle style of shooting, you're going to struggle with this optic. The next negative is the weight. I go into a little bit more detail in a recording that I've done here, but the gist of it is the weight of this optic is just as much as a 1:8 first focal plane LPVO. So what are you really getting out of this optic for that weight? You're getting a fairly robust construction. Again, I can't really do that type of testing, but an extremely limited eye box, more so limited than the 1:8 I have back here. So you're not gaining anything for that weight. You're just spending the weight. You'd be much better off with a more lightweight prism optic, which is the big selling point for prism optics over LPVOs, is their lightweight. So why are you going to buy this optic over something like the Vortex Spitfire HD2? What do you gain from this optic? All right, so I've got here the product page for the Bravo 5 5x32. And I'm going to be honest, I'm extremely disappointed in Sig because the information that you need to know about an optic to make an educated purchase as a consumer is just not there. So it's on sale, right? Big quotes around that, for $369.99. They say it was $569. I have never seen it not on sale in like the past 2 years. Since COVID, I haven't seen it not on sale for $369. Whether or not that's deceptive business practices, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, but it feels wrong, right? What's our weight? 23 ounces. Compare that with the Strike Eagle, the Vortex Strike Eagle. This is the 1:8 by 24 first focal plane. And this one weighs 23.9 ounces. So you're getting a product that weighs just as much as an LPVO with significantly less availability to take on different roles. Let's compare it to its competitors. The Primary Arms SLX 5X Micro Prism, $399. So you're paying $50 more, but you get, in my opinion, a much better reticle. Yes, it's busy, but if I'm completely honest, I prefer busier reticles just because it helps with ranging. Look at how much this one weighs, 8.5 ounces. And this one has the eye relief listed on the product page rather than Sig Sauer, which never even lists eye relief. The eye relief is whatever Sig assumes the eye relief to be or presumes the eye relief to be is just a fucking mystery. But let's also compare it to the Spitfire HD Gen 2. Its MSRP is $649. I've seen it on sale for way lower than that, so I would never buy this at the MSRP, but 10.3 ounces, right? So the two main competitors for the Bravo 5 both weigh less than half of what the Bravo 5 weighs. For what reason would you use this? It's just a heavier, worse optic. Furthermore, this is what I'm talking about with the reticle. The dot is great. It's a decent size, but these stadia lines are just way too thick, and it makes ranging damn near impossible. I've got some B-roll that I'll put up in a minute that shows a simulated distance on a target, and you can see it completely obscures the target. And then I've got my Strike Eagle 1:8 for comparison, but it's going to be a little bit more tough to look at that one because I didn't take it off the rifle like I did for the Bravo 5. So just keep that in mind. The next huge issue I have with this optic is the reticle. The reticle is extremely large for the magnification. So the center dot on the reticle is pretty good. It's probably about a half minute of angle. However, all of the subtensions are between 1.5 to 2 minute of angle. And for an optic that's built as a battle sight, that 1.5 to 2 minute of angle at 300, 500 yards, anything outside of 100 yards, you're going to obscure a large amount of the target. I was shooting on an 18-inch torso at 300 yards with this optic, trying to range it, and the ranging features of the optic were completely obscuring the target. So what I had to do was I had to aim at the target, find my subtension, and then move the rifle over, obscuring the entire target to try and shoot it with this optic, which was ridiculous. The ranging features on this optic are nigh on unusable. So in connection with the reticle, the optic has brightness levels, but those brightness levels are not of a sufficient quality to justify even using them. It's more of a daylight red than a daylight bright, right? And you see this with a lot of scoped optics, but this one is particularly dim. When I've been shooting this at like noon, it's just completely obscured by the sun. So again, you have a feature that is there that this optic provides that is just not usable. It's kind of ridiculous. So if the reticle is so bad, why would you buy an optic that is fixed 5 power magnification that you can't use outside of 100 yards? Are you seeing the big issue with this optic? There is no possible way to use this at range unless you take the caps off and dial it, because again, the etched reticle is unusable at range, especially if you're aiming at anything thinner than 18 inches. It's kind of ridiculous. I was shooting at a 12-inch plate at 300 yards, and the etched reticle completely obscured the target. So another thing I don't like about this optic is the mounting system. You have these 2 hex screws, or hex nuts, and that's all that's holding your optic in place. And as you can see, there's a little bit of wear on them because when I first mounted the optic, I had issues with it coming loose during firing. So I brought them back, I cranked them the fuck down, and these hex nuts are made out of some Chinesium that kept on slipping with the wrench. So in conclusion, this optic really isn't worth your money. If you look at the other options available on the market, if you compare it to something like an ACOG sight or something like the Vortex 1:8 first focal plane, or really any LPVO that goes from 1 to 6x, or even 1 to 8x, you're going to be outclassed in weight, you're going to have similar glass clarity, you're going to have better eye boxes, you're going to have just about everything on the optic be worse with the Sig Bravo 5. I would put this optic in F tier. Don't buy it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your money. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm hoping the next video is going to be a little bit more light. I've got a couple in plan, so